The big political story today, Priyank Kharge, the IT Minister in Karnataka, has once again attacked the RSS for ideological reasons. He has in fact written to Siddaramaiah, the Chief Minister of Karnataka, yet again seeking action against government employees who participate in RSS functions. He has also sought government institutions to be free of RSS activities. Now, call it a political counter, call it an ideological counter. RSS has always been a bone of contention between the BJP and the Congress party. It's also because Rahul Gandhi has been an extreme critic of the RSS. But how does the party look at this? Is it ideological? Is it political? Is it a social issue? How should one look at it? And how has the BJP responded to this? Well, BJP in Karnataka, specifically in Mandya, has reacted very sharply to Priyank Kharge's comments. They have condemned this call for boycott of the RSS with a campaign that says, "I love the RSS." Several BJP leaders have also spoken out against this, saying that this is just an attempt to malign, defame the RSS that they say is working only in the interest of the country. Let's listen in to some reactions before I bring in my guests.
Cabinet is of the opinion we come up with a new set of orders and rules that dictate how government institutions, government premises, government grounds, government aided institutions will be utilized by private people or associations, and also public roads and public spaces. You have any function to celebrate, seek permission from the authorities, as we have told you. You cannot march at your whims and fancies. You will not be allowed to brandish sticks and intimidate people with slogans.
प्रियंका खरगे का मानसिक संतुलित वो तो बिगड़ गया है. His only credibility is he is a son of Mallikarjuna Kharge. उसके ही जिला में भाग्यवती सुसाइड किया. क्यों किया? लाइब्रेरियन थी, 3 महीने से उसको पगार नहीं दिया, करंट बिल पे करने के लिए पैसा नहीं था, हैरेसमेंट हो रही थी, इसके लिए वो सुसाइड किया. प्रियंका खरगे उसके बारे में सोचना चाहिए. He should not think about RSS. No one could do anything. If they cannot do anything for RSS, then how you can do? You are a joker.
We should really look into it. As a government, definitely it's high time that definitely we'll have a look into it, and definitely we'll apply mind and see to that what next has to be done.
Is this something that's going to be discussed in the cabinet today, sir, about banning RSS activities in government premises and things like
The
that?
subject is not there today as such. So whatever it is, maybe politically we have to think and apply mind towards the government and see what we can do.
ये प्रियंका खरगे है, पूरा वो पागल हो गया है. वो हिंदू के खिलाफ, आरएसएस के खिलाफ, वो उनका बुद्धि भ्रष्ट हो गया है, इसलिए ऐसा बयान दे रहे हैं. देखेंगे ये 2 बार क्या करते हैं, फिर हम भारतीय जनता पार्टी करना आएगा, तभी हम राष्ट्रीय स्वयं का हर एक कार्यक्रम में भाग लेने का नया प्रावधान करेंगे.
Well, joining us now is Samrudh Hegde, who's a spokesperson of the Congress party. We have Rajalakshmi Joshi. She's a political analyst. We also have Nikhil Jain. He's a political analyst as well. He supports the Congress party. He's anti-RSS. And we have Sajjan Kumar, who's an author and an analyst. Thank you all of you for joining me on this broadcast. Samrudh Hegde, to you first. This is the 100th year of the RSS. The RSS has 1 lakh shakhas across the country. People participating in these shakhas are not... they're all people from the society. Don't you think that the Congress, specifically in Karnataka, by taking such a strong position against the RSS that actually gets members from society, is politically alienating itself from a significant section of the society?
First of all, let us begin with some unassailable facts. No organization, association, cooperative or cultural group is above the law. And all of them must operate within the ambit of law. And secondly, that the Constitution is supreme and the loyalty to constitutional ideals is not an option. What role does an unregistered, unregulated, unaccountable organization that conveniently shapeshifts as a cultural organization when convenient and a political organization when profitable, and that doesn't believe in plurality, secularism and equality, what role do they have in our public schools, in our public premises? Public spaces are sacred spaces. and they don't belong to one faith, one group, one community, or one ideology. They must always remain neutral grounds and not become ideological playgrounds where any organization is allowed to function as a factory of prejudice. When a school becomes a shaka, education turns into indoctrination. Now, Vasudha, here is a very order of 2013 when the BJP was in power in Karnataka, banning any private institution from functioning in schools. Here's the order. Is the Karnataka government being pulled up for upholding the law?
Recording in progress.
Very clearly states that any government servant will not participate in a political function.
Rajalakshmi Joshi here. Yeah. Rajalakshmi Joshi, how do you look at the fact that there are governments from, even the BJP government across the country who have actually brought in these notifications? I don't agree that they actually meant the intent of it, because sometimes these notifications do come out without a lot of people really knowing this. But one point that Mr. Hegde points out is very important, is that this is ideological counter, this is political counter. How do you, as a woman, as a person, look at the RSS? Do you think the Congress's opposition of the RSS is also in some way steeped in its understanding or lack of understanding of the RSS?
Hello, Vasudha. And yes, you have very rightly said that this all stems from a lack of understanding of the RSS, basically. So it is I would just want to remind everyone that the RSS is a social organization. It is not a political one. And the ideology is that of Vyakti Nirman and of Rashtra Nirman. So that is the basic ideology, and that is Rashtra Sarvopari. That is the basic idea behind it. So if anyone who has ever visited any shaka would see that or any event of the RSS, will see that they have songs which are dedicated to Bharat Mata. It is not about any particular religion. So yes, they definitely talk about Hindu culture, they talk about Sanatan culture, because that is the culture of Bharat. That you cannot deny. The basic problem that was happening during the British colonial rule was that they wanted us to shed all our cultural roots. They wanted us to let go of all our gurukuls. They wanted us to let go of our pride in our own country, in our own culture. So all of that...
Okay, let me get a Nikhil Jain here. Nikhil Jain, the fact that a lot of people believe that the understanding of the RSS that the Congress seems to have is in some ways a warped understanding of the RSS. They talk about Golwalkar, they talk about, Savarkar, who was not even part of the RSS. Is there any criticism that you think is relevant in contemporary times, apart from the ideological aspect of it? Because that really... those battle lines are drawn there. But the fact that the RSS has also evolved in the last many years, does the Congress party take cognizance of that fact?
Vasudha, I really believe that the RSS has not really evolved in the past 100 years. They're just pretending to evolve to be more palatable to the Indian people. India as a country, and not from the past 100 years, 70, 80 years of being a republic, but from the many past centuries, is a secular and tolerant country. You look at the history of India, that for over 200-300 years, we had a Mughal empire, right? A Muslim empire. Then we had a Christian colonial administration. Despite that, we remained and continued with the religion of Hinduism as a majority religion. Despite that, Hinduism continued to be practiced in many different forms. You have the Vaishnavites, you have the Shaivites. But the RSS's idea of India is that of a particular form of practice of Hinduism, is an idea that does not have any space for people belonging to other religions. And I think that is where the problem lies. RSS, you cannot look at RSS by divorcing it with its ideology, right? And in the contemporary times, you ask me, how is it relevant? I'll tell you.
Right.
Who's the current chief of the RSS? He is a man and a Brahmin. Who was the previous chief? Same. Who was the chief before that? Same. RSS is an organization which is essentially pulling the levers of the central government. And yet they are an organization that would not
let me get in
allow
Sajjan Kumar here. Sajjan Kumar, the identity factor is very important here, because Mallikarjun Kharge or Priyank Kharge's criticism of the RSS becomes all the more important because they come from the SC community. Does that also in some ways show the apprehension of the RSS? Because this is one community, the deprived sections are also the sections that the RSS wants to desperately reach out to. Do you also agree that sometimes criticism or calls for boycott coming from leaders who come from these communities, who represent these communities, are far more, a challenge for the RSS and the BJP than, say, a regular criticism, something like that Rahul Gandhi says?
Well, I mean, that has been a challenge, but we've seen the subalternization of RSS outreach from winning over a majority of communities, reaching out to the plank of Samaras, that is equality in endorsing their cultural identity along the welfare schemes. Now, in Karnataka, question is not about the question is about the two sort of SC community, the right, and we do know.
Okay, let me bring in Samrudh Hegde now. Samrudh, the call for boycott never works because, even the Congress party has banned a lot of things in the past. It really doesn't work because in a free society, any ban, any boycott only is counterproductive. Do you think that this move in some ways will not really work for the Congress party because at the end of the day, people will have the freedom to make their own choices?
Vasudha, I think the question is being misinterpreted. There is no question of any ban as yet. And it seems like as if reason flies above the head of the RSS. The only talk right now is that RSS is not above the law and that they should follow the law. It's as simple as that. If you're operating inside Karnataka, if you're operating inside India, you follow the law. You follow the law, you can take care, you can do whatever you want, whatever activities. And without mincing words, RSS is an organization that is
but what are the unlawful activities that they have done that you think is a problem for society? Samrudh, what are the unlawful activities that they have done? Can you quote some examples that you think are really problematic for Karnataka, for the society? What do you think these activities are?
Vasudha, there is no requirement to go that far. If they are an organization that is unregistered, can an unregistered organization be allowed to use public spaces? It's as simple as that. And can a public servant who is duty bound to act in the favor of every single Indian, who has to serve every single Indian equally and not any particular sector ideology, and it is mandated by the civil service rules, is he allowed to participate in political functions? It is as simple as that. And if he is doing so, and if an organization is allowed to permitted to function in a public space, it is illegal. That is all we're saying. Where is the mistake in that? Why is it being blown out of proportion?
Okay, let me get a response from Rajalakshmi Joshi. Samrudh is making a very clear point. He's saying that, you can be ideological if you want, but don't bring it to offices. Offices are supposed to be secular. You cannot, be an RSS worker in a government office. In some ways, you cannot use the playground of a government school for a shakha or, invite an RSS dignitary as a chief guest in the school because that shows ideological projection and posturing, and that shouldn't be allowed in government. Would you agree with that?
Vasudha, I find that strange because, RSS was definitely banned thrice by the Congress government itself. They speak a lot about freedom of this, freedom of that, freedom of speech, freedom of expression and whatnot. But then they're the ones who have actually put a lot of bans on all these, on an organization like the RSS. See, it was banned thrice. Once in 1948 after Gandhiji's assassination, then during the emergency, and I think during the Babri Masjid demolition. So on 3 occasions. But then they were for short periods of time, and there is absolutely no evidence or no conclusion as such that there has been any unlawful or anything that is against the interests of the people or against the interests of the country. So that is something that is strange. So saying that
from Sajjan Kumar, does it also mean the RSS has failed to convince the political class that it is an organization, hundreds years of existence, but it is also inclusive, accommodating? Is that something that the RSS has failed to convince the political class of?
Vasudha, I look at it as a kind of a narrative being built up by the
Sajjan Kumar, yeah.
This narrative. Yeah,
Sajjan Kumar, yeah.
Okay,
okay.
This? Okay. I don't think
Okay,
he's on the
last word from Nikhil Jain, please. Do you think that the RSS has
Vasudha,
failed to convince the political
Vasudha,
class?
please let me just let me make a point. Let us have a fair debate where the RSS point of view.
Okay, ma'am, you
also is
just made your
convinced the
point.
people.
I have to get in the last word from Nikhil Jain because I have to wrap this debate now.
No,
Nikhil
there
Jain.
are two people speaking for the Congress and they're talking against the RSS, and the RSS point of view is not being put across, Vasudha. So just let me just put across a point saying that the
Okay.
RSS, even
Time
the
is
polls
completely
also
up. We'll have to take this discussion someday later, and this is an evolving topic, ma'am, and we'll get to discuss this quite often. Yes, of course, another bone of contention with the RSS being the flashpoint yet again in the state of Karnataka, with Priyank Kharge asking for a check on government employees taking part in RSS activities. He has asked for action to be taken against them. We'll have to wait and see how the BJP looks at that. With that, it's time for a short break. More news and updates on the other side.